You hear these words all the time, right? AI and crypto. They're two of the biggest buzzwords in tech, for sure. But what happens when you smash them together? Do you actually get some kind of real innovation or just a whole new level of hype? Well, today we're going to try to answer that by taking a close look at one specific project, AI Rig Complex.
I mean, let's be real. The promise of combining AI and blockchain is absolutely everywhere, but it so often feels like we're just playing buzzword bingo. You see projects that just slap AI on their name, but they never quite get around to explaining what actual real-world problem they're trying to solve.
So in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're cutting through all that noise. We're going to use a project called AI Rig Complex, or ARC for short, as our case study to see if there's any real substance behind all the marketing. All right, so what exactly is AI Rigs Complex? The easiest way to think about it is like a factory or maybe a workshop for building specialized little AI workers. It gives developers a whole set of tools to create these small, independent AIs, and then it uses the blockchain to help them all coordinate and work together in a secure way. The whole project really stands on three main pillars. First, you've got the rig framework. That's the core technology, the actual toolkit for building the AI agents. Then you have the ARC ecosystem, which is the whole community and the platform for getting new projects off the ground. And finally, you have the ARC token, which is the economic glue that holds the whole thing together. Let's start with the tech itself. The rig framework is a toolkit for developers, and it's built in a language called Rust, which for any devs listening, you'll know is famous for being fast and safe. The whole point is to let developers create these small, lightweight AI agents that are super portable. They can run pretty much anywhere, in the cloud, on your phone, or hey, even right on the blockchain itself.
Okay, so that's the what. But what does it actually feel like for a developer who wants to use this? Let's pop the hood for a minute and see how it really works.
The process is all about being modular. Seriously, think of it like building with Legos. A developer uses that Rust framework to create the basic agent. Then they start snapping on different components, things like prompts for language models or a memory module, stuff like that. And then the final step is to deploy it using something called WASM, which is basically this universal format that lets the agent run really efficiently just about anywhere you can imagine.
Now, you can have the coolest tech in the world, but if no one's using it, it doesn't matter, right? That's where these ecosystem tools are so important. There's something called Arc Forge, which is essentially a launchpad for brand new projects. And here's the key part. All the fees are paid in the ARC token, which creates real demand for it. Then there's the Handshake program, which is kind of a quality filter. It makes developers put down a small deposit in ARC tokens to propose an idea, which is a clever way to keep the ecosystem from getting spammed with junk. But look, even a really clever ecosystem design doesn't guarantee success, not even close. We've got to talk about the reality of the market, because this is where a project's potential runs headfirst into pure, unfiltered speculation. And right from day one, the interest in this thing was just a frenzy. In its very first 24 hours of trading, ARC saw over $22 million in volume. That's not just a little bit of attention, that's a huge signal of massive market expectation. But that fire hose of early money also fueled some extreme volatility. We're talking about the tokens seeing single-day price swings of over 50%. Now, that is not the sign of a stable, maturing project. That is the signature of a market that's being driven by pure hype and short-term bets, not by long-term fundamental value. And this really captures the central challenge for ARC, or really any project in this space. It's this constant tug of war. On one side, you've got this super powerful marketing story that AI plus blockchain is the future. But on the other side, you have the cold, hard requirement for actual utility. The project has to deliver real apps that solve real problems. So let's just break down these major risks. First, there's that core one. The narrative, the story, gets way ahead of the actual utility. Second, its success depends completely on developers choosing to build on it when there are tons of other options out there. Then you have to deal with fierce competition, the wild price swings we just talked about, and of course, the ever-present threat of regulatory uncertainty. Okay, so with all those hurdles, what does a realistic path to success even look like? What actually has to happen for ARC to become more than just another speculative token? The path forward really comes down to hitting 4 key milestones. First, they have to show off real, repeatable use cases, not just cool science experiments. Second, they need developer adoption, and not just from their own community. They need outsiders to start building. Third,
Integration is huge. It needs to connect with major blockchains like Ethereum and Arbitrum. And finally, it needs to create a real economy, one where value comes from actual activity, not just from people trading the token back and forth.
You know, a quote from the analysis we looked into for this just sums it all up perfectly. It says, the project combines technical innovation with a speculative market, and that contrast must be understood. And that's really the key, isn't it? You have this core of really interesting tech, but it's wrapped up in this chaotic, speculative market. If you don't get that contrast, you're missing the whole picture. Which brings us right back to our original question. Is a project like ARK a real blueprint for the future of how AI and blockchain can work together? Or is it just another cautionary tale from the crypto hype cycle? Well, the answer, as it almost always is going to depend on one simple thing: its ability to deliver real, tangible utility.